Okay, so students, so today we are going to discuss about the top-down parsing, and we are also going to discuss about the first and follow methods which we are going to apply in the top-down parsing methods. Okay, so everyone is clear about the parsing methods, right? So what do you mean by parsing here? Parsing is where you read the data, read the grammar rules or read the variables one by one, okay, in a following a particular pattern, and you'll get a successful reading of all the variables or identifiers whatever you are writing in your program. That will be identified as a valid program syntax based upon the parsing rules. So we have two types of approaches here: top down parsing and bottom up parsing. In top down parsing, we have seen, okay, so we have to use LL1 grammars. And what is a grammar? Grammar is a rule in order to identify a particular identifier or a keyword or a number. Okay, so where we,
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes,
We are unable to see your PPT, ma'am.
I am opening the PPT again. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So in top-down parsing, so we are going to analyze, or we are going to replace a particular expression with its values in a top-down manner. So this indicates, okay, this is one example for the top-down parsing method. Okay, now this is a string which is generated based upon these rules. We can have these rules for our identifier, for our digits, for our function names also. Right. What is a rule we can give? If I want to give a context-free grammar rule for identifying a particular identifier, how we can give? We can give as D goes to left side, non-terminal. You can take a capital D goes to L, starting with the letter L. Okay. Afterwards, within simple brackets, we write L or D. That is L plus D whole star. So that is one rule. That is one grammar rule. Similarly, here we have an example here. So these are the different expressions which are given to us, and we need to generate this string. We need to generate this output from the given string. How do we generate this? We are going to take the start symbol. Always top down parsing will start with the start symbol. Parsing means we are going to read each non-terminal, okay, from left side towards the right side. We are going to read each non-terminal, and we are going to try to replace the non-terminal with the terminal values. Until we don't replace the non-terminal with terminal values, you won't be able to compute any expression. No mathematical expression can be computed, and you cannot generate any output value. So this is how we are going to do a particular, these are the different start symbols. For each start symbol, you can use these 5 different types of rules. So these are the different ways how you can generate. So first E is taken. For E is replaced with T and E dash, two non-terminals. Again to this T E dash, uh, the production for T is taken, which is FT dash. That is T is capital T is replaced with FT dash now. Again to this tree, what is happening here? To this capital F, we are generating a ID. So first left side tree, okay, first left side of tree is replaced with a terminal. That means we are following here leftmost derivation approach. Right. So one of the, in the given example, first ID is generated. Then remaining we have to generate these things. That is plus ID star ID we have to generate. So depending upon the operators, you have to choose which of the production can be used in order to generate the next terminal as plus. Okay. So here we are again taking here for this after ID we should get a plus symbol. So here we cannot leave this T dash and we cannot go for the next non-terminal. If I want to generate plus, plus is attached with this E dash. This rule we have to take in order to generate a next plus symbol. For this T dash, we cannot leave this T dash and we cannot go for this E dash to replace E dash with this expression. So here we will check with this. T dash is having another production epsilon. So we need to attach some terminal value. So for this, since we are having two expressions over here, two replacements for T dash, first one is not suggestible because it is not matching the given input. We will take the second one, replace T dash with epsilon and then go for this A dash, E dash. So under this E dash is replaced with this plus T dash. Why? Because we need plus here. After this ID, we need plus. So here we are using plus and then we have T dash. For this T, again you can extend this T and E dash in order to generate ID and star ID in a similar way as we have done over here. Okay, so this T, how you can again generate here? You need an ID here. So T, you have this FT dash, this capital T you can replace with FT dash, and again for F, okay, for F you can use ID, okay, and for T dash we are again going to use this star FT dash so that we can generate star ID. Okay, so again in place of S you can use ID and for T dash you can simply use epsilon. So depending upon our given input. So this tree plus T dash, so the non-terminals T and E dash here can be further expanded in order to generate ID star ID. So there is no particular order so as to choose which productions. Okay, there is no restriction on the sequence of the productions which you have to use in this tree. Depending upon the input string, you can select randomly any one of this production in order to generate this string. Clear? So once you fill up these leaf nodes, then only you can go for the upper parent node. Okay, so here since F and T dash are replaced with some terminals, then only we are going to expand this E dash. Without giving any value to T dash, you cannot go directly to E dash. So that is the only condition over here. First give the leaf nodes for this, then you go for the parent nodes which are at the above levels. So this is how we do the top-down parsing method. Okay, take the start node and generate the terminal nodes. Okay, at the bottom of the leaves. Is this clear up to this point? Top-down parsing. Students, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, shall I go for the next slide?
Okay, ma'am.
So when we use the different approaches in order to evaluate an expression, okay, so each approach uses its own type of grammar. In top-down parsing, we use LL1 grammar. Now, what is this LL1 is? You have here the first L. The first L stands for scanning the given input string from left to right. In the above slide, the given input string is ID plus ID star ID. So how you are going to generate this string? You are going to generate the string starting from this leftmost symbol. That is, you are reading from left symbol to the right symbol. This first ID is our left symbol. The last ID is our right symbol. So reading or generating of the string will be happening from left to right. We are going to follow this sequence. One by one, we are going to generate this terminal values. That is representation of the first L. Okay. So LL1 is first L stands for scanning or reading the input from left to right. Then what is this second L? Second L stands for leftmost derivation. Always we are going to derive the terminals from left side. Okay. So in this tree we were generating. See here, first leftmost trees, leftmost branches are derived with the terminals. Then only we are going for the rightmost. Here F is there, T dash is there. First we are generating a terminal to this left side of the tree. Then we are generating a terminal at the right side. So this is leftmost derivation. And the next one we have 1. What is this 1? 1 stands for reading the look ahead symbol how many look-ahead symbols you can read? Only one symbol at a time. One stands for you have to read only one symbol at a time. Okay, and what is this look-ahead symbol? Look-ahead symbol is the next symbol which you have to read. Okay, suppose in this you are reading ID. ID will be our current symbol. Then what is the look-ahead of that? Look-ahead will be plus. The next symbol which has to be read. Compiler has not stored that one in the memory. Okay, when it is reading ID, the look at you we will be having a pointer which will be pointing to the next symbol. Okay, so when the compiler completes reading this and storing it, then only it will go to the next symbol. Okay, so when the compiler is doing some work on the present symbol, the next symbol which is present after this is called as look ahead symbol. Okay, so in this case, when we are deriving ID, okay, when we are deriving ID in this case, that is derived and it is being stored in the symbol table. So the symbol which is followed after this will be our look ahead symbol. In this plus is there, plus is a terminal here, and there is no rule that look ahead symbol should be only terminal. It can be non-terminal or terminal. Anything can be present. Is this clear? This is the meaning of LL1 grammars. Okay, you have to follow this approach. Read the input from left to right and do leftmost derivation only. And we are going to generate terminal symbols only one at a time. We should not generate total string at a time. Okay, one symbol at a time we have to generate. Okay, using the look ahead pointer. That is the next symbol, next successive symbol. Okay, so whenever a grammar is given to you, okay, to generate this a particular string, a particular input or a particular string is to be generated for a given grammar, then that grammar which is given to us should be LL1 grammar if you want to implement the top-down parser technique. Now what is this? When do you say it is an LL1 grammar? So yesterday we have seen LL1 grammars are the grammar which is not having left recursion. Left recursion in the sense the leftmost non-terminal on the LHS side and the starting symbol, starting non-terminal on the RHS side of the production, both are same. When both are same, it is called left recursion. That should not be there. Even if the grammar is given to you in left recursion form, you have to eliminate that using the formulas which we have seen yesterday. Okay, A goes to A alpha we have seen. How did we eliminate that one? What is the formula for that? Students? What is the formula for that? A goes to A alpha by beta is there. How do we eliminate? Yes. A dash equal to?
Alpha A dash or epsilon.
A dash equal to alpha A dash by epsilon. And A is replaced with what?
Beta A dash or beta.
It is only beta A dash. Beta is not there again. Okay. Only it is beta A dash. A goes to beta. A goes to beta A dash. That's all. And A dash goes to alpha A dash by epsilon. Right. This beta is what? This beta is the other production ma. This is not the formula. This beta is what? Because already this beta is present, that we are writing. Okay. In order to, the equivalent form of A alpha is beta A dash. Only beta A dash. Okay. And whatever is there, other productions, consecutive productions after this A alpha, that we have to write as it is without changing. They are not the part of the formula. Okay. So this is what we have done during the previous class. And it should not be ambiguous. One more condition is it should not be ambiguous in the sense there should not be any left factoring. Left factoring in the sense, how do you say it is a left factoring? If a production is having a multiple grammar rules towards the RHS side, multiple grammar rules, all are having same prefix. All are starting with same prefix. Then you can take the common prefix as one production and remaining productions you can add it under another new production. Okay, so that these two things should be done okay, before generating the particular terminal. Okay, so here as we have seen, IATS and IATS, these two are common prefix here. So what we are doing, which is uncommon, only ES is the new thing here. So this, we are adding a new production only to this ES. Remaining IATS, we are taking it as it is production, and only in the place of ES, we are replacing it with a new production S dash. What is S dash? S dash is ES as well as epsilon. Why? Because in the first expression, this side, there is no production after IATS. That means there is epsilon here. So this S dash is equal to epsilon as well as ES. So for these first two productions, only for this first two productions only, we are using IATS S dash. For this third production, there is no prefix IATS. So we are not using any S dash production, or we are not applying this new production to this one. With this we are writing as it is. So these two things should be done before applying the top-down parsing method to the given production. Okay, so we have to remember that this word, that is in top-down parsing, the grammars which are used are LL1 grammars. Clear? Is this clear, everyone? Students? Is it okay, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So again, then we'll go for the next one. In top-down parsing, we have two techniques. One is recursive descent parsing, and another one is predictive parsing. Okay, two parsings. Now, what is this recursive descent parsing is? We shall understand by seeing this example. A production is given to us. We need to generate a string CAAD. Okay, CAD is the input string which we have to generate. Now, by using these three productions, we can use any of these three productions such that we can generate these input symbols. Now, in the top-down approach, always the strings are generated using the parent node or start symbol. So, among this, which is the main production and which is the sub-production? Which is the main production here? S or A?
Yes.
S is our main production. So we should start generating the string by taking the start symbol. So with S, we have only one grammar rule. We don't have multiple grammar rules. So we don't have choice. Take that as it is. Now, for the second production, now C and D are terminals. We cannot expand them anymore. The only option we have is A. So in this capital A, if you see this one, in the given string, CD is there, starting and ending. CD is already obtained. Only we have to generate the middle terminal A for this from this non-terminal. So for A, we have the first expression. First, in recursive descent parsing, we will try all the options. We won't go for random checking, right? That is a thing in recursive descent parsing. So first we have to take AB. We cannot skip AB. We cannot go directly for the second option. In a sequence manner, we have to check all the expressions. So AB is taken. When you replace capital A with these terminal values, AB, the string which is generated is, what is the string that is generated? CABD.
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you find out the string? Whether you use clockwise or anti-clockwise direction?
Clockwise.
If you take clockwise, the input string which is generated is DBAC. If you take anti-clockwise, input string is CABD. Which direction we should follow?
Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise direction should be followed in the syntax trees. Never use clockwise direction. Okay, anytime for any input, the procedure here is we should follow the anti-clockwise direction. So the string generated here is CABD, which is not matching our input string. So again, what the compiler will do? It will remove this one. It will remove this production AB, and it will go for the next expression, next replacement of A. What is the next replacement of this non-terminal capital A? Is the terminal A, the small letter. Again, it will check whether it matches the given input string or not, and again it will replace capital A with small a. and in anti-clockwise direction it checks the string. So here we have CAD, so it is matching, right? So in this way, one after the other, one expression after the other, we have to go on checking until we get the required input string. In case if small a is also not matching, if suppose we have some letter here XYZ, if it is not matching, then capital A, again we should replace with the next expressions which are followed after that. So how many expressions are there for capital A or for this non-terminal? All those things we have to go on checking without skipping anyone. And there is no random pickup of the expression. In a sequential manner we have to do. So that is the procedure which is done in recursive descent parsing. So what happens whenever there is mismatch of the input string, backtracking will be done here. That means AB is there, again this will be removed, again reading will be happening from the previous level. What is the previous level after you remove AB? Non-terminal A will be there. So that will be again taken. So this is called as backtracking. Backtracking in the sense whenever a particular string is not matching with a given input string, that string will be removed and again reading of the non-terminal will be happening from the previous level. So from this bottom level we go to this previous level capital A. Again pattern matching will be done. So that is a procedure we follow in this recursive descent parsing. So we need to do backtracking here. Okay, so whenever there is mismatch of the string, the generated input should be modified, and again you have to go back. So that is what is given here, and we are always going to check whether the given input string is proper or not using pointers. Okay, so each one of these will be read one by one. C, A, B, D. Each one of them will be read one by one using pointers. So if one of the input pointer needs to be reset, then again next alternative production rule will be followed. And recursive descent parsing will not work if there is left recursion. If there is left recursion, that grammar will not be processed. It won't be read by the parser. So that is a condition over here. It can't be used for left recursive grammars. Okay. So definitely in top-down parsing, you need to take care of left recursion and left factoring. These two things should not be there. Is this clear? Up to this point? Students, is this clear, ma? Okay, so there is a backtracking. So what is the disadvantage in backtracking is, it takes lot of time to generate a particular input or to solve a particular expression. Okay, and there is some overhead. There is lot of work burden on the compiler. So other alternative for this is predictive parsing. That is the second approach in the same top-down parsing. In predictive parsing, we don't have any backtracking. Okay, we can directly pick up the particular rule, grammar rule. Okay, depending upon the given input. No need to check all the options in the predictive parsing. And before going to predictive parsing, okay, or before understanding what is the predictive parsing, we need to understand what is first and follow. So predictive parsing tables will be generated in order to identify whether a particular input can be generated or not. So this is what how can we check randomly again? Randomly is also not possible. Compiler can't estimate if there are 100 rules for a given production, like E dash is there, here 2 rules are there. If there are 100 rules, compiler cannot pick up easily. Okay, randomly there is option it can check, but it cannot pick up which is matching the given input. So for that purpose, it will try to analyze the given grammar, okay, with some computation values. It will generate some computation values. Based on that, it will randomly pick up the productions which will generate the given particular input. And this predictive parsing will follow some computations. That computations are first and follow methods. Based on this, you can easily identify which grammar rule will generate the production. Okay, so before going to this understanding what is the procedure in predictive parsing, in order to understand this table, we need to understand what is first and follow. Okay, so before going to this procedure, first we will see how to compute the first and follow. That means first means what? First indicates what are the values, what is the direct terminal values which can be obtained for a given non-terminal, that is called as first. And what is follow? In this production, okay, after T, what is the next symbol? What is the next locate symbol? Or what is the next successive symbol which the compiler has to read? That is called as follow. Okay. Like we have seen here, our current symbol is C. So for this, the locate symbol will be capital A or non-terminal. And follow of this terminals or follow of any variable can be either terminal or non-terminal. A is replaced with some terminal values here, A, B. If A is B, if we are able to replace A with the terminals, then this will become the first. If A is replaced with some other non-terminal, like suppose capital X is there. Now capital X is what? This is not a terminal, this is non-terminal. That means still capital X can be extended. Then this capital X is not the first of A. Only B will be the first of A. That means only terminal values will be the first of any non-terminal. Whereas in follow, the next symbol can be either non-terminal or terminal. Okay, so if capital X is there, then what to do? Again for capital X, A will search whether there are any terminal values which can be replaced with X. Then those terminal values will become the first of A. Is this clear, everyone? Students?
Ma'am, follow means what, ma'am?
Follow means the elements. If you are reading A, what is the next symbol followed by A? Small b. Small b is the next to follow. C you are reading. What is the follow of C? Capital A. If the compiler is presently reading capital A, what is the follow of A is? The next symbol, successive element, that is D. And after D, is there any follow? There is no follow. Okay, so follow means you have to remember that whatever the symbol is there, if you are choosing a current symbol, the element which is after that current symbol or which is immediately following that current symbol, that is called as follow of that particular element. Is this clear? Just blindly you have to remember that whatever is there after that particular element, that is the follow. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So computation we will see now. Computation will have its own methodology. Okay, I'll show you the problems now. Okay, please listen carefully. Are you able to see this one? Slide. Students, are you able to see this photo slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think it is visible to you. Okay, so this is our production which is given to us. These are the rules. Okay, we will see how to compute. Okay, we have discussed what is first and follow. Okay, the terminology we have understood. Now we will see in order to generate the productions.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Photos not open. Ma'am.
Yes,
Photos are not open, ma'am.
not open. Huh? Okay, 1 second. Now,
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So here we have, okay, in your mobile you try to zoom. If I zoom here, it is not being able to share. Okay, so here we have the production rules. These are the 5 different production rules which are given to us. Okay, we'll first try to calculate first and follow. How do we calculate the first and follow? Okay, that means what we are doing is we are simplifying the given expressions. Whatever string they give to find out, okay, whether you can generate a particular string from these productions or not. For that, before checking with the string, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to find out whether the given productions E, capital E dash, okay, non-terminals, 5 non-terminals are given towards left side, whether they can be replaced with terminals or not, that we are going to find first. Okay, then we can check with the given string. So under the computation of first function, we will try what are the different terminals with which each of the non-terminal can be replaced. That we are going to check. Is this clear? Is this clear, everyone? Students, any doubt? Students, are you following?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we will check the first production. We have first 5 productions are given to us. First we will check capital E equal to capital E goes to T E dash. Okay, now we are trying to find out in case if we are using this production capital E in our top-down parsing method, how we can replace capital E. If you extend this capital E, what are the strings that can be generated that we have to see? What are the terminal values we can generate ultimately at the bottom of the tree? So first of E, you have to take the after this arrow, whatever first terminal, whatever first variable is there, whether terminal or non-terminal, its terminal values we have to find out. See here, the symbol which is followed after this arrow is capital T. That means this is not actually the terminal value, this is non-terminal. So this non-terminal still has to be still simplified to get terminal values. Again we will check. If capital T is there, then again check the T production. If it is a terminal value, no need to check. You can take directly the terminal value. Since it is non-terminal here, I will check. I will go to this T production. Where is the T production? Among these 5, see, equation 3 is our T production. In this T production, again you check only the first symbol on RHS side. Only the first symbol on RHS side is what? F. Neglect the T dash, neglect E dash, neglect the second symbols. Okay, only consider the first symbol. So first is what? Again, it is a non-terminal. It is not terminal. So again go for F production. Where is F production? Here. Okay. In the F production, we are having 2 production values. One is brackets within that one non-terminal E, and again we have one more production ID. Now what is ID, whether it is a terminal or non-terminal?
Terminal.
Terminal. So this can be taken as first. First of E means capital E can be replaced with ID. This is one symbol we got. And in this second expression, it is the first symbol here is open bracket. Capital E and close bracket are the remaining symbols which you have to neglect. The first symbol is open bracket. This is a special symbol, and all the special symbols, operators, different types of symbols which we use, all will come under what? Terminal or non-terminal? Arithmetic operations, special symbols, relational operators, everything will come under what?
Terminals.
Terminals only. So in this, from this expression, we got open bracket as one terminal. From the second regular expression, we got ID as another terminal. So this is the first of E. That means whenever you are using capital E in the syntax trees, okay, the top-down approach, whenever you are drawing the tree, that capital E can be replaced with either close bracket or ID. If in a given input string, suppose a string is given, generate this given input string. In that input string, if ID is there, that means you can use this production E goes to TE dash in that tree. Or any open bracket is there, you can use. If an expression is given to you without ID and open bracket, then there is no meaning in using this production E, because you won't be able to generate. You won't get any other input. So that is the purpose of using this first method. Similarly, you have to find out for the remaining non-terminals also. The next one, E dash is there. What is the first of E dash? We have two expressions. See, epsilon is also one symbol here. Okay, other than capital letters, everything are terminals only. Blindly you can remember like this. So epsilon is one terminal we are writing. In the first expression, the first symbol is plus. Okay, so unlike the previous one, here first symbol was non-terminal. So again we were going for the T production, and again we were going for F production. But here first symbol itself is a terminal. Then no need to check the remaining production. Okay, blindly we can write plus here, because we need only terminal values. So whenever you use E production will generate the final terminal values as plus comma epsilon. These are the first values for this production E dash. Is this clear, my everyone? Students? Yes? CR, is it clear? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then again, go for the third production. So in this way, for all the left side non-terminals, for all the variables you should find. Then finding out the first of T. What is the first symbol immediately after this production is F. Consider only first symbol capital F, which is a non-terminal. Again, for this non-terminal F, since this is a non-terminal, you should go again to this production F. What is F production? We should take the first of F. What is first of F? First of F is open bracket. Okay, that is the first symbol in this expression is open bracket, which is a terminal. So that we are going to add under T. So under first of T, we have added open bracket. And one more expression it is also having, that is ID. So that ID also we are adding. So these two will become the first of T. Similarly, the next expression is T dash. To T dash, we are having two expressions towards the RHS side. If we consider the first expression, first symbol is star operation. Okay. So this star operation is arithmetic operation, that is multiplication operation. So this is terminal value. So we are taking this as it is. So ft dash is equal to star operation, comma. And since one more expression is also there, we are going to include this also as first symbol. So since epsilon is a terminal, directly you can take the terminals here. So epsilon is one more replacement of T dash. Clear? So the last one is F. F we have done already. Okay, for other remaining productions for T dash and F, we have already seen here. So first of F is the first symbol in this expression is open bracket, and in the second expression the first symbol is ID only, that is also a terminal. So both here will become the first of F. So this is how we have to compute the first of all the non-terminals which are towards the left side. We have to consider only the first symbol, okay, neglecting the remaining symbols. If it is a terminal, you can take that terminal directly, but if it is a non-terminal, then you have to go for, you have to read the production of that non-terminal, okay, again and again until you get a terminal value. Okay, like in the first case, T was a non-terminal, so again we were reading T production. Here also we didn't get any terminal. T production is starting with a non-terminal F, so again we need to go for F. So in F we got a terminal value in the first expression and second expression, so we are not going for another new production, because here itself we got some terminals. Is it clear, ma? Up to this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next one is we have to find out follow of E. By follow of E, we have to find why we need to compute the follow means in order to identify which production we should take. Okay, without, because there is no backtracking. Okay, so here in the previous one, in the previous example we have seen, see that is in order to generate CAD input string, capital A is checked again and again with the different expressions. Okay, so this follow will help us to directly extract the particular rule only, particular regular expression which is matching the given input. Instead of checking with all the regular expressions, directly we can choose one particular grammar, okay, among this. So that is the purpose of this follow. Okay, now how to calculate the follow is, okay, first we will go with the first one. So follow of E means you need to check what are the elements that are being followed after the non-terminal E. See here, when we are calculating the first, what we are taking this E dash, T dash, we are considering from left side. These are all present towards the left side of the production, right? We were considering the left side production, but when we are computing the follow function, we have to consider the right side production. Never use the left side production. Okay, we need to find out follow of each non-terminal in the right side productions. Why? Why we need to go for right side production only? Anyone? What type of grammars we are using here? What type of grammars we are using in this?
LL1.
LL1 grammars, and we are using context free grammars. Do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
What is context free grammars? Left side will contain only one non-terminal. So if you take E dash or anything, you won't have any follow for this. You cannot compute follow if you consider the left side productions. Okay, because it is a rule in the context free grammars, left side production will be of length 1 only. You cannot compute the follow. There is no chance to compute. So that's why we have to consider only the right side productions. Is it clear? Students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now take this one follow of E. So among these 5 productions, we have to check where is this non-terminal capital E. So if you check here among these 5, in the 5th one, there is capital E. In the remaining 4, there is no capital E. So after capital E, what is the next symbol? Next terminal or non-terminal, what is present here after E? We have a close bracket. Is this clear? Follow of any non-terminal can be either a terminal or non-terminal. Okay, so for this capital E, we have a terminal here. This is a terminal, close bracket is there. So this is the follow of E here. Okay, follow of E is what? Follow of any non-terminal is what? Whatever symbol is there after that particular production. Whatever symbol is there after that particular non-terminal. Is this clear? Students? So,
Yes, ma'am.
so this is our follow. That means the next symbol which has to be read after reading capital E is close bracket. And what is E? E is a start production. In the given grammar rules, blindly you can take any question is given to you in the form of rules. The first production, normally they will give the start symbol. Okay. So capital E is our start symbol. Since we are computing the follow of the start symbol, by default you have to write the dollar symbol in the start symbol. Okay, when you are writing follow. And one rule here is we are going to use dollar symbol only in follow. We should never use dollar symbol in the first. Okay, we should not use dollar symbol in the first, even though we are computing first for the start terminal. Okay, E is a start symbol here. Even though we are computing first function for this, don't use dollar symbol. A dollar should be used only with the follow. Okay, And second important thing is we are always going to compute first and follow for only non-terminals. We should not compute this for terminals. Like here we have epsilon plus star, open bracket, close bracket, ID is there. These are all terminal values. We should not compute first and follow for terminals. We should compute only for non-terminals. So these two things you have to remember. One is regarding dollar symbol, one is regarding the applying of first and follow only to non-terminals. Then second one, go for the second production. E dash is there. Now compute follow of E dash. For this you have to check the right side production. Which equations are containing E dash here? Equation 1 is having E dash. Equation 2 is also having E dash. Now if you consider E dash, after E dash there is no follow. Is this clear? In the first equation as well as in second equation there is no symbol which is after E dash. So there is no follow. So when there is no follow, what we have to do is E dash will borrow the follow from its parent node. What is the parent node for this? Or if you draw a syntax tree using this, how do you draw the syntax tree for this? E will be the parent, T will be the left child, E dash will be the right child. So for these two, what is the parent? Parent is E. So E dash will borrow its follow from its parent node, that is E. Okay. So E is going to borrow from its follow from E. What is follow of E? We have already done. Follow of E is, it is followed by close bracket. Okay. As well as dollar we have written. Why? Because it is a start symbol. So these two things will be the follow for E dash. It will take directly whatever values are there for E, it will directly borrow and it will take it as its own follow elements. And again, if you see here, E dash is also present in the second case, in the second equation. Then again, because there is no follow here, again it should take the follow from its parent. And what is the parent of E dash here? It is E dash only. So when the parent and the child both are same, okay, you cannot borrow, you cannot take the follow, you cannot compute. So in this case, you can neglect this equation. There is no meaning in taking the follow from the same node or from the same element. So this equation you can neglect. Is this clear? In the first equation, E dash is having a different parent. So it is able to use the follow of E. But here E dash and E dash both are same, parent and child. So there is no meaning in writing the follow of E dash from this E dash. So we will neglect this equation. Is this clear, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now E dash also we have done. Then next one is T. Now again we have to compute follow of T. For that we have to check in which equations T is present. Check these equations. First equation T is present. Second also it is present. The remaining things it is containing T dash. These are not T. Okay. So we have to compute follow of T using first and second one. Now first we will consider the first equation. What is follow of T here? Tell me. In the equation 1, what is follow of T here?
Parent node E.
Yes, good. So a parent node. Why parent node?
It has no follow, ma'am. No non-terminal.
This T is there, no. After T, what is there? It is not E. It is not parent node. You check here. After T, is there any element present or not? That we have to check.
E dash is there.
E dash is there. In the previous case, when we are computing follow of E, there is no element after E dash. Right? So that is why it is borrowing from parent node. But here in this case, T is having a successive element after it. That is E dash. If E dash is not present, T will take the follow from its parent. But here E dash is there. When E dash is there, T does not have any right to take or to borrow the follow elements of the parent node. Okay, so E dash is there. So now what T has to do? It has to use E dash values only. Now, what values of E dash it should take? That is the next question. What values of E dash it should take? E dash is having two values. One is first value, one is follow value. Which value it should take? It should always take first value. First of E dash should be taken. Is this clear? So don't get confused here. When there is no element in here, when there is no element, you can borrow follow of the parent directly. But when there is a successive element like this, after t if you have e dash, then you should take the first of e dash only. You should not take the follow of e dash. Is this clear? Successive element is there, we are going to take the first of that successive element. If successive element is not there, then you should go and ask the follow values of the parent. So these two things we should keep in mind. So follow of t is there. So we are going to take the first of e dash. What is first of e dash? We have already computed plus comma epsilon. So plus comma epsilon is here, that we are going to take as follow of t. Is this clear up to this point? Students, any confusion here? Anyone, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, here we can take the first of e dash as it is. First of e dash is plus comma epsilon. This can be taken as follow of t. But here we can see here epsilon is there. In follow of t, epsilon is not allowed. Okay, in place of epsilon only we are using this dollar. Okay, epsilon is not allowed in the follow of t. So this epsilon should be removed. We cannot simply directly remove that. We need to do some replacement. We need to fill up epsilon with some alternative elements and then remove the epsilon. Now how to replace epsilon with an alternative elements over here is, okay, we are checking this one. So let me show the second slide. Okay, so here we were doing the follow of t. So follow of t plus is okay, remaining epsilon is there. For epsilon here,
Ma'am, photo not open, ma'am, again.
okay.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
Okay, now is it clear, ma? Is photo is also clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now again, so we were having this plus. Okay, so plus was there. That was acceptable for this epsilon. So follow of t. So when epsilon is there, we were using this e equal to t e dash. So e dash can be replaced with plus comma epsilon. That is the first of e dash. So when you replace e dash with plus, the successive element of t is plus. When you replace e dash with epsilon, what happens? What does this equation change it to? It will change it to e goes to t e dash, right? So when you write epsilon in place of e dash, the equation change to e goes to t. Now when the equation is e goes to t, and in this case there is no successive element, there is no element which is present after t. Okay, so what did we do in the first equation? When there is no element, when there is no successive element for any non-terminal, what we should do? Immediately it will borrow the follow from its parent. Are you following, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
See here, T is followed in our original equation. T is followed by E dash, and T has to take the first of E dash. So first of E dash is plus is there and epsilon is there. And how does it take plus and epsilon? T will first replace E dash with plus. Okay, after replacing, T will take plus as its follow. Then again the next symbol is also replaced in the place of E dash. After replacing only, it will consider it as a follow. Then again when you replace epsilon here in the place of E dash, this total equation will be transformed as E goes to T, which means there is no successive element after T. When you replace E dash with epsilon, then for the second symbol epsilon, since there is epsilon will not be counted as a terminal over here, or it won't be counted as a follow element. So in that case, it simply indicates to T that there is no element after T. So T will again automatically it will borrow, it will ask its parent node E to give its follow elements, and the follow elements of E are close bracket comma dollar. So that will be taken in the place of epsilon. Close bracket comma dollar are the follow elements in the place of epsilon for T. And in the place of plus, you can directly take it as the follow element. So this will become the follow of the production T. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now similarly, second one, the next one T dash is also there. We again you have to search the right side. Where is T dash? T dash here it is present in the equation 3 and equation 4. If you consider the equation 4 and 3, after T dash there is no element. So what it has to do? If there is no element, it will take the help of its parent node. So here T dash will ask its parent T, okay, to give its follow elements. It will take directly from follow of T. Follow of T we have computed previously. So those are plus comma and dollar. And in this equation, in the fourth equation, after T dash, there is no element. Again, it should borrow from its parent. But here parent is same. Parent and child are both same. So we neglect this equation. There is no meaning in this when parent and child are same. So this is how we find out. So here T dash is taking the follow of T here. Follow of T is what? Plus close bracket dollar. That only it is taking. Okay, similarly the last one F. Again you have to check where is F production in this among this one. F production is present in the equation 3. So F is followed with what? T dash. If it is a terminal, directly you can place a terminal under this set. But this is a non-terminal. T dash is a non-terminal. So whenever a non-terminal is there, what we have to do is we have to take the first of T dash. What is first of T dash we have? First of T dash is star comma epsilon. So that we are taking. Okay. So we get star comma epsilon. And again epsilon is not acceptable. Okay. Star is there. F keeps star in place of T dash. It will take star as its follow. Then second one is second element also it should keep in place of T dash. It will keep epsilon in place of T dash. If it keeps epsilon, what does this equation will become? See here, T F T dash was there. When you keep epsilon in place of T dash, it is becoming T goes to F, which means after F there is no follow. Okay, so you cannot simply write epsilon. You have to fill epsilon with some values. What are those values? Borrow the follow elements from the parent node of this F. What is the parent here? Capital T is the parent. So what is the follow of this T? You have computed here follow of T is plus comma close bracket comma dollar. That it will take. So this is what it is taking. So for epsilon, the follow elements are plus the close bracket and dollar. Okay, and before epsilon we have used star also. So all this put together will become the follow. Star comma plus close bracket and dollar. So these are all the follow of the elements of F. Is this clear? Whenever we are doing follow elements, whenever we are computing follow, we need to check the right side productions only. Whenever we are computing, first we need to consider the left side productions. That is the first point, ma. Second point, how to do the follow. if there is a symbol after after a particular production, if there is a non-terminal, okay, like for T, if you have a non-terminal E dash, you have to compute the first of E dash. If suppose E dash is not there, it is simply E goes to T. If there is nothing present after the particular non-terminal T, then in that case, it will borrow the follow from parent. If successive element is there, no need to borrow from parent. It will take the first value of that particular element only from that particular non-terminal. That is the second one. And the next one is epsilon is there whenever epsilon is obtained as first of any element. In that case also again you need to borrow the follow elements from parent. Okay, and how do you compute the first? First is always computed by considering the first symbol only, first symbol towards all the RHS production. If capital T is there, again you should go to the T production and again check whether there is terminal. Here also if there is no terminal, for T goes to FT dash, again it will go to F production. It will go on moving from one production to another production until terminals are obtained. Terminals are what? All small letters or brackets or symbols, arithmetic operators, all will come under the terminals, which cannot be extended further. Is this clear, everyone? Students?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so still two more problems are there. I will try to explain in tomorrow's class. Okay, I'll just share the photos. Okay, this notes to you.